a lot of people, as you know, in the recovery process, there's hiccups, there's failures, there's relapses, I guess is the
Relapse.
proper
Hmm.
term. Um, so let's say someone is with you guys, doing great for a couple months, something happens, whatever, they drop out or disappear. Um, and then, but let's say in a couple months, maybe even a year later, they come back and they're like, "Hey, I'm sorry, I really want to do the program again."
Hmm.
What does that look like? Because I know it
Hmm.
happens, right?
Oh,
So
of course it
what does
happens.
that look
Hmm.
like?
Yeah. It looks like a conversation. So it is very individualized here. So we take in consideration how well she did when she was with us. They are very closely monitored. Attendance is monitored. Um, the one-on-ones are not well, we keep good record of what,
Yeah, yeah,
the
right, right,
discussion is,
right.
right?
Yeah, you got to be
Um,
careful the terminology you use, right?
yeah,
Monitored.
not monitored. Um, but and in our meetings, we talk about when we pray for each one of our girls, right? So Shelly's working with them, I'm working with them, Tiffany's working with them. We have another coach that works with them. So we meet and we discuss weekly how they're doing, how their progress, is. So we take all that into consideration. So say a woman came back a year later, because she maybe dropped out, relapsed for another, for a while, and then came back. It would just simply be a discussion. We give a lot of grace.
Yeah,
There's grace even built into our program, with attendance and everything. We hold attendance very high, but we also give grace there. We understand, things can come up where you miss, and so what we try to do is not box these women in, right? And treat them all the same. We really treat them individually and use our great discernment on what we think she needs and is she ready to come back, right? Some would be ready, some were like, we don't know if you're ready yet. So
yeah,
it's a conversation, but
yeah.
we have a lot of grace and a lot of love. And just like I had a daughter who had a really rough time, and I had to have grace for a very long time. And so sometimes in addiction, you do have to give chance after chance after
Yeah,
chance,
yeah, yeah,
you know.
yeah,
But we all take that in accordance, and we all make the decision together too of how to um make those big decisions for each woman, and we do it out of sincerity of our hearts of
yeah.
what is best for her, what does she
Absolutely,
need, because what she needs isn't necessarily what another woman needs,
absolutely.
and so we've even referred a woman to a live-in center, in our program, like this
Okay, yeah,
isn't this isn't working for you, like you need to go somewhere and actually stay, right? And so we really yeah, try to take care of them the best we can
yeah. Isn't it amazing?
and do
We
what's
we
best for
actually
them.
are, no matter what certain areas of thought will say, we actually are different individuals
Yes, we are.
that needed to be treated individually,
Yes.
right?
Hmm. Yes.
Um, when you mentioned your daughter, then you mentioned some things about how some people need to be told, it's not time yet, kind of thing,
Hmm.
and then showing a lot of grace. I remember one time, I think we ended up telling our son, "You're gone," like
Hmm.
kicked him out of the house
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
couple of times. But one specific time, literally within minutes of kicking him out, I went to my bedroom and laid on my bed and was crying to
Yeah.
God. I
Oh
just
yeah.
want him to come home. you
Yeah.
know, Please send him home, right?
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
but I knew wisdom was I had to kick him out,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
But then, he came home and he's like, "Okay, I'm ready to talk,"
Hmm.
and so we hashed out that moment.
Yeah.
And then we got to the next moment where grace was needed again, right?
Hmm.
So,
Yes.
but,
Yes.
thank God. I mean, man, thank God. He is such a great kid now. And it truly is God. I sat down with him a couple years ago and we did kind of an interview together, just me and him. And I
Hmm.
was talking to him about, his thoughts on what's out there and how we could help, because I've never been to the places he had been to, right? He saw things that I've never seen and don't want to. But at the end of the day, he said, it was just Jesus. That's what it was for me. It was that moment when he come to the realization, I need Jesus. Like, I know who I am. I need to just focus, right? Anyways, but thank God that happened, and it took a while for everything to come out of him. But we still have, I don't know, it took maybe even up to a year or so before it was like everything had to flush out.
Yeah. There was a process that had to happen of getting all
Yeah.
of it. Yeah, I understand.
It was interesting, like, to observe, because he was doing good, but I just knew he wasn't all the way there yet. Like, something physical was going on, right? But then when he came out, it's like, okay, he's out. He's my son again. Like, I've got him back, So anyways, I like telling that story because it's just a God thing. And I'm just so
your wife had
happy
a big part to play in my daughter.
What's
and
that?
Your wife had a big part to play
okay.
With my daughter's turnaround and Jesus.
That's awesome.
And that's a whole story. Maybe we can talk another time about that. But it was
that's awesome.
It was, I will always be I will always owe your wife whatever she wants, she can have.
That's the only reason you're here talking to me, right? You're like, because if she's married, that guy's connected to her, he must be all right.
Then I'll do it.
No,
she's close to my heart for what she did with my kids. So
awesome. I will I'll tell her she'll have to watch this. She doesn't watch these.
She doesn't watch your shows?
Nah, she don't care. She don't read my stuff. She don't watch it. She's like,
she hears enough of you.
But thank you for saying that about my wife. She's very compassionate, and I think she's perfectly called for what she does at the hospital. So anyways, we kind of got off track there because of me. Sorry about that. But Tiffany, so let's go back to the beginning a little bit about what you do, because I love the grace thing. I don't want to jump. Let me say it this way. This is how I teach at church too. Sometimes I'm a little over, but I do want to say good for you on the grace and the individuality, right? I do want to say that because there are these moments where we have biblical example of go and sin no more, right? But then we also have the example where there's times Paul wrote, I turned them over to the devil for their own good, right? Like, and I don't mean, of course, that was more in a church spirit type role there. So not trying to necessarily put that on what you would do, like to someone who, no, go, I'm turning you over to the devil. But the reason he said he did that was so that they could be stripped of the things that were keeping them from being restored. Because he knew that if he let them go through the process, that his hope and prayer was they would reach that point to where they were stripped of their obstacles, so that when they come back next time, they're ready. Did I articulate that okay? Okay.
I think so.
Okay. I see Tiffany nodding. I see Shelly nodding, and Megan's looking like, what is he talking about? No. Is that, yeah. Okay. Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to make sure I articulated that well, because I didn't want to put something on you that, like, you're like, oh man, don't say that. But there just is a time, right? There's a time for grace, and there's a time for tough love. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll stop. Tiffany,
Yeah.
Let's talk about go back to again to the beginning. So what is it that you do? We talked about who you are, and we talked a little bit about these programs, but what does this look like? Like, what's the whole? You're the string, you pull it together. What's that look like?
Yeah, so our focus is really on leading women from addiction to restoration. And through this initiative, our goal is to introduce women to a God that loves them and has a perfect plan for their future. So, like Shelley said, we combine a science-based curriculum along with faith-based process that creates and addresses heart issues as well as the behaviors that lead to addiction. And then when Megan and Shelley were talking about what makes us unique, so if the brain rewiring is kind of focused on the past, and if the equine therapy and our Bible studies are kind of focused on on the present, then we have coaching that leads us that helps them for their future. So there's coaching that is very future focused. We're setting goals. We're teaching them how to kind of recover, what their life's going to look like after recovery,
Yes.
life skills, as well as helping with family relationships that may have been broken because of addiction. So we all know that addiction never impacts the user alone. It impacts the entire family. And so helping to restore those relationships is an important part of what we're doing.
Yes.
So we really are a program that is dealing with the past, helping them in the present, and then it allows them to be future focused.
Love that. That is so cool. I'm sitting here, you said all that, and I'm like writing some things down because I'm like, I don't want to forget to say this. But that's what this whole like when I guess it is a podcast, but I don't it's like, is it though? Right? Like I've even had someone say like that when I wanted them, I offered that they could come on. It was more when I was in my, political mindset, but they were like, well, I'd be willing to go on a legitimate podcast, and I'm like, okay. But so it's weird for me to call it a podcast, but I guess it is. But anyways, my heart's desire for this, it's revive Newcastle, right? It's about
Mhm.
restoring and reviving
Yes.
Newcastle because it again, we're not responsible unless you got a distinct call on your life for the world or the nation. We're responsible for our backyard,
Mhm.
right? And I'm getting somewhere because it's based off what you said, Tiffany. And this is the point about how we revive our community. We acknowledge what was, we recognize what is, but
Mhm.
we embrace what could be,
Right.
right? So I love that you said that because there is always a past, there's always a present, and there's always a future.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
all our perspective of it that determines where we're headed. And I've also likened it like we all have moments in life. A lot of times, sometimes when I teach, I'll do this diagram. It's real simple. You just put one dot here, one dot here. There, I'm on camera. One dot here, one dot here, right? And you draw a line, and here's the beginning and here's the end. This is God's beginning. This is God's, and going back to what Shelley said at the beginning that I loved, this is God's intention for your life. Okay. But all along the way, you have these other dots, and these are moments. And instead of what happens to us a lot of times is we get in the moment and we get stuck in the moment.
Yeah.
We circle away, then we come right back to it. We circle away, then we come back to it. And because if we cannot rewire how we're thinking, and if we cannot embrace that there actually is an intention and a future, we just circle the drain, right? Because we don't see the hope. And God's got this whole story that He wants to perform in our lives, but because we're stuck, He's just looking at us like
Mhm.
like we have with our kids. And we're just like, if you only knew, if you only knew. And so how awesome is it to see when the lights, and they're like, oh wow, there is more to life. I can embrace a future. Um, anyways, I could go on and on. Again, you guys know me, I talk a lot, but I love seeing, at different times you see pictures of people like, this was me here and this is me now.
Mhm.
It's amazing. I just talked to someone about this last night at church. In the church, we're getting better at it, and I'm glad of that. But at least in my Christian world, we grew up not comprehending the body, soul, spirit concept very well. But the physical, the soul, the mind, will, emotions, and the spirit, it's all intertwined and it all affects, right? And so there, you could actually have certain thoughts that actually make you sick when actually it's
Yeah.
not a virus, right?
Right.
We're whole beings.
Yeah.
And
Depression can settle in your joints.
what's that?
Your joints can ache because of depression.
Isn't that
It can
wild?
settle. It can settle there. Yeah.
A merry heart does good, like a
Mhm.
medicine, right?
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
so let's start. We'll start wrapping up. I could talk about. I love this, and of course we got so many people here, so there's a lot of conversation that could be had. But how can the community support the program? Right? I know you guys have done some community things, but let's take this two ways here. I'm just going to throw some different things out. Say we have an individual that just learned about you, they're watching or whatever, and they're like, oh wow, this is really cool. I didn't know anything about it. How do I not know about this? I want to help. I want to do something. And then let's take a perspective from a business owner. Maybe there's a business owner out there that wants to help, wants to offer some type of help. And then maybe an organization, maybe some type of organization or church that wants to be a part of what you're doing. What does all that look like? How does the community pitch in?
Yeah. So, first and foremost, as a Christ-centered organization, we believe very much in the power of prayer. And so we are asking that anybody who is a follower of Christ to just cover us in prayer, because we need wisdom daily. We need pray. We need prayer for the women that are entrusted to us by God, and then of course we need finances.
Everybody, right?
Yes, we
Yes.
need supporters. So for financial stability, like monthly donors are our biggest need right now. Businesses that are willing to partner with us and donate would be fantastic as well. Churches, like we need to partner with more churches. We need churches to know that we exist so that we are a resource for them when they do come across a woman that has addiction issues. But we also need churches that are partnering with us and covering us in prayer. Maybe
She visited us in the last episode too, with Leah and Laura.
But we need churches that are willing to partner with us as far as donating as well and staying connected with us. We have a couple of different churches that have done beautiful things for our women, giving them gifts of like tangible items that they needed. Another church did a whole like spa day and kind of treated our women so that they felt a little bit more beautiful and a little bit better about themselves. It was really a fantastic event and our women loved it. So we are looking for churches, businesses, and then of course individuals to help us to do those three things: pray for us, help us financially become a donor supporter, and then also to just get the awareness out that we are here.
Yeah.
And if you know a woman that is in need of recovery, that is struggling in any type of addiction, let them know that we are here.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So somebody wants to give money, they go to the website, they send a check.
Yeah,
What's that look like?
all of those options are on the table. Probably the easiest is usually go to the website,
Okay.
henrycountywomensrecoverycenter.org,
Okay.
and you'll see donate buttons as soon as you get there. So just follow those links, and that's the easiest way. But if you do want to mail a check to us, our address is on the bottom of the website as well.
Okay. Okay. One more thought before we close, with any final thoughts that you guys may have. Um, so as you're talking there, I'm always thinking of, how do I say this? Like people who have a specific calling, or maybe a specific, like you said, the spa day, for instance. If
Mhm.
there's an, do you have in mind, man, if we just had someone or a group willing to do this, that would really help? Or, if not, are you, I guess, just willing to have someone just say, hey, I'd like to help out in this way. Is there any room for that type of help? You know what I mean?
I
Like,
do know what you
so
mean.
coming from a church perspective, so being on the pastoral team, I don't know, Tiffany or Megan, your experience in ministry or with ministry or whatever, but I know Shelly's been on the pastoral side of things. Um, you know how you don't want to have to tell everybody what to do, and you don't want to have to come up with all the plans,
Mhm.
right? You're just waiting. You're hoping somebody that's really on fire just comes and says, "Man, I just really want to do this," right?
Mhm.
So does that relate to you guys? Is there opening for that, or am I just kind of,
Well, I think it's important to remember that right now we're still building this program. We're
yes?
still, we're a young organization. We're still creating the structure and building the program. So
I'm interrupting, but I don't mean to. But I really want to say right here, like that's you, right, Tiffany? Like
that's
we're
me.
all out here, like what are we going to do? And you're like, hey, I'll tell you what, let's bring it
Focus.
back home here. Let's
Bring
remember
it back
this,
in.
Yes, yes. So
Yeah, I was gonna give you a long list.
right? Right. So go
and
ahead. Yes,
No.
so
you are
I
a young
would.
organization. Yes.
But yes, we are a young organization. We're still building the program. So as we are building it, if we have a specific need, we are out there looking
Okay.
to fill that, and we're reaching out to others. But I would say too, for example, with the spa day, they came to us and they said, "Hey, we want to do this for your women," and we made it happen. It was a beautiful thing. And so if a church or a group has a specific thing in mind,
Yes.
Megan's the person to go to and run that by. She's gonna run it by me,
Yeah.
but we're gonna make the decision and move forward with it. But as far as just people wanting to donate their time on an individual basis and things like that, like I said, we are still building the program. And so at this point, we're kind of reaching out when we have a need.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I get that. So it's like you're willing to have people offer some clothing to put on every once in a while, but you don't want to grow a third leg or anything right now, right?
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. Okay. I completely understand that. Um, any final thoughts, last comments, anything on your heart you want to share, specifically, to kind of wrap things up?
Well, you were saying something. I was slightly distracted because my son was right outside the door again a minute ago, but I felt like you said something about like the before and after, like did I catch that? Were you saying something about how people go from one place and then transform into something else, or did I just totally miss that?
I may have.
I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe not. Okay.
I don't know, but I did
Little
talk
bit he
about
did,
going
yes.
from where you started to God's intention.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Okay. So that was it. That's where
Yeah, not
that's what I
getting
was
stuck
catching.
in the moment.
Well, it made me think of this because this is, can you see this? This
Wow.
is, that's me, 2003, right
No
before I got
kidding.
saved. Yes, this is me. So it was just
Wow.
funny when you were talking about before and after, I was just thinking
Yeah.
like, this was a girl on a path to hell.
Yeah.
And then that was God's intention for me. And this is what God does, is he takes us from this broken place and he puts us on a path. And so if anybody's listening that is in hopelessness right now and you think that your life is wasted and that there's nothing more that can happen with you, I just want you to know that that is a lie from the pit of hell. And you cannot trust those thoughts because that is not the voice of your Father in heaven, because he has a purpose and a plan for you, and you can recover. You are not broken. You are not a piece of crap. That is not who you are, because God determines your value and your worth. And
Absolutely.
you're just dysregulated. Your brain is just, you've been through trauma, you've been through some stuff, but you can heal. So that's one thing I wanted to say.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I'm gonna let that simmer for a second. But the second thing that I wanted to say is that really our leadership team, the dynamic of us is really cool. Megan is the head of the spear, and she does have great big bright ideas, and Tiffany does love to take them and put them bite size. And we just really have a friendship, but also just the way that we work together and the trust level that we have is really great. To me, it gives me a lot of confidence in our organization. That
Yeah.
um,
Absolutely.
we're going to.
Absolutely. A lot of gosh, even churches, I mean, any organization would do so much better if they could learn that you can do great things if you're not concerned about who gets the credit all the time,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
That is awesome. You can accomplish so much if you don't care who gets the credit. And so, does anyone else have any final comments?
Yeah, kind of going along with what Shelley was saying, that was on my heart too, was to speak to the women and also about you, because you were talking about the more, right? And having, I think they all have, all the women and men, right? We all have this more that God puts in us, that there's more to us. It drives us to keep going for recovery, because it's in us of there's more. Like, this isn't the end of your story. This wasn't what you're made for,
Yes.
And so I
Yeah.
just want to encourage, all the women out there that have that, and sometimes they doubt it. They're like, no, it's really not there. No, it is there. He's put that in you. There is more to your life, more to your story. There is true freedom. There is true peace you can have. Keep fighting for it, keep searching for it, and keep going for it. And if you want it, we can help you find it, because we have found it ourselves.
Yes.
But
Absolutely.
there
Well,
is
guys,
more. And
thank
so
God for you. Thank God for you. There is more. It's not the
Yeah.
end of the story.
No.
Definitely, I plan to be there at Rock and Recovery. I'm sure I'll see you guys there. So God bless you guys. Tiffany, Shelley, Megan, thank you guys
Thank you,
so
Clay.
much. I love this stuff. Thank you for what you do. God bless you.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.